How people treat you is their karma. How you react is yours. Wayne Dyer. Welcome to The Magic Hour, the conclusive sequel to Together Again, a Lakes Funland story, a game that I played and covered in a story breakdown over 2 years ago now. While this is the sequel, the story here involves new characters and unfortunately a new tragedy that unfolds 20 years after the events of the first game. If you're curious about the story of Together Again, you can check out the link to the video I made on it in the description. In The Magic Hour, you play as Reagan Schmidt, the daughter of Michael Schmidt and Ashley Waters, the protagonists of the first game, as a night guard at Sunshines. Before we start, this story will involve sensitive topics such as alcoholism and abuse, so you have been warned. Now you might be wondering what led us to Sunshines, so I'll let Dr. Hadeas explain.
In Wisconsin's summer of 2014, in a tale quite extreme, young Reagan Schmidt, with a ginger head, had a dream. Last day of school, she aimed to bid the year adieu, with fireworks in the schoolyard, a dazzling hullabaloo. But what started as fun turned awry, oh so fast. A firework zoomed into the principal's office, aghast. Scolded and reprimanded, Reagan felt quite small. Her parents, the principal, they frowned, standing tall. Expelled from high school, her future took a twist. No more classes for her. Oh, opportunity missed. Her mother, all upset, with a stern voice declared, "Get a job, young lady." Reagan felt quite scared. So she searched day and night, feeling quite bereft, till a glimmer of hope in the dark she'd unearthed and left. A magical place, oh it sounded so grand, a restaurant for all, where joy and laughter expand. With animatronics and charm, it held quite a sight, for both grown-ups and kids from morning till night. A job at this place as a night watch she found. Little did she know what lay deep underground. Unaware of the secrets and dangers concealed, Reagan embarked on a job, quite a mysterious field. The restaurant so lively in the day's bright light, but at night eerie shadows danced out of sight. The animatronics, once merry and gay, seemed different at night, in a peculiar way. What mysteries awaited? What secrets did it keep? Reagan, unaware, couldn't fathom so deep. Thus begins her story, in a place so obscure, with danger lurking and mysteries to endure. Reagan, the Night Watch, with her courage in tow, unraveled secrets in the night's eerie glow. Amidst silent whispers and shadows that cower, she ventured forth into the magic hour.
A restaurant with a sunny disposition, yet something lies beneath its shadows. In the beginning, you're presented with a story from a 7-year-old child named Marie, illustrated by their drawings. Marie has a sister, Sue, her father Reginald, and her mother Martha, who's pregnant, a secret kept from Reginald. Long ago, Marie's family used to live well off, but are now in poverty, living in a small house thanks to the betrayal of Reginald's best friend. While this resulted in the family's livelihood suffering, Martha gives him a second chance, choosing not to dwell in hatred. Reginald, on the other hand, turned to drinking and gambling, and is abusive towards Martha and the kids. Despite this, Marie loves her father, and hopes he will change for the better one day. Whether he chooses to do so is another story.
It's time to wake up. Time to put your feet back on the ground with a smile on your face and the spirit to get up on your feet to get ready for a brand new day. The sun is shining brighter than ever, and here at Sunshines, we want you to shine brighter than the sun. Because here at Sunshines, we value an exemplary and committed employee. And that's all we, as a family, expect from you now that you have decided to join our crew. Welcome, Reagan! We are very pleased to receive a new family member with our arms wide open, hoping to watch you grow as an individual and also a professional. You are now a valuable asset of our security system. That means our customers, employees, and mascots all rely on your services. Here at Sunshines, it is very important for us to ensure the safety and protection of the families that come to visit us. That means we won't be glad to receive any unwanted guests in this facility, and we trust you with the necessary tools to handle potential threats and do your job as specified. Starting with your CCTV monitor, every camera around the building is connected to this device, which will be useful for you to look around at your surroundings without having to leave your workstation. As well, we have invested in a powerful generator that will keep the building's energy working as it always should. So don't worry about a power outage or wasting too much energy with the equipment. It is important that you always wear your uniform at all times. Carry your badge. We have also provided you the phone number for the local authorities in case you're in need of backup in tense circumstances. You also dispose of a flashlight. And finally, at the end of the week, you will be granted with your own taser weapon. But first, you must prove that you are worthy of owning it. So go now, show us all what you're made of, champ. We all count on you.
Now that you've been introduced to your job and its responsibilities, it's time to begin your first shift. The first night gives you the opportunity to familiarize yourself with the location while speaking to your best friend Sabrina. During each night, keep a lookout for collectibles hidden throughout the cameras, like trinkets, photos, and tapes. While I won't be going through the entirety of their discussion, there was one detail that stood out, which I found quite interesting, and in a way references another game connected to Together Again, which was Together Again: A Christmas Story. This was originally supposed to be a teaser game for Together Again, but ended up as an extension of the game after getting delayed to the point of releasing a month after the first game. Reagan mentions that her mother never really liked Sunshines, and overall was very put off by the animatronic performers.
And when I told my mom about it, she seemed really upset. She always talks shit about this place and the animatronics when she's reminded of them. So, yeah, even if I wanted to come, no one would have taken me, but, hey, here I am.
Of course, given Ashley's history with Lakes Funland, this is understandable. She never fully got over the events that happened 20 years ago, mainly because of the spirits that inhabited the animatronics, who reached out to her and revealed that her mother was the one who killed them. We get a glimpse of Ashley being haunted by them in the one-night extension, where she would be visited by the animatronic spirits after Lakes Funland burned down. Clearly, while the spirits moved on, the same couldn't be said for Ashley. While it's not necessarily relevant to the Magic Hour, it's nice to get some insight into what happened with Ashley shortly after the events of the first game. Of course, Reagan didn't tell her mom where she was working, so no worrying her there, I suppose. After your first night, you're informed about the collaboration program, where you can assist your fellow co-workers with tasks and odd jobs for some additional payment. The additional funds provided can be used to buy some collectibles in the main menu. The first task involved collecting batteries and installing them into this cute little robot that you'll actually be using for the rest of the work week. Don't worry if you don't take this opportunity, since I'm sure someone else will gladly take the money. Marie's second story talks about a day where Reginald took her and her sister Sue to a dumpster in the city, and tossed them inside so that they could look for items. Father of the year right here. Surprisingly though, Marie found the TV, which lifted her father's spirits, and ended up bringing it home. While it may have only had 2 channels, it was still a great source of joy for Reginald, and a fond memory of Marie as they watched TV for hours. This would be one of the only times she saw her father smile. When the TV started showing the animatronics from Sunshines, Marie was left in awe and hoped to see the robots in full color. This precious moment ended abruptly thanks to Reginald, who yelled and tossed the remote at the TV in a fit of rage and refused to let Marie continue watching, slapping her hand with the TV's cable, bringing a rather sad end to the night. For your second shift, you're introduced to Pauline and Paulette, the animatronic twins. along with the little robot you fixed, or didn't fix, Pauline bought. Pauline on occasion will leave the show stage and hide amongst one of the cameras, eventually making their way to your office, and Paulette will follow shortly behind her. In order to prevent Pauline from entering the office, you must use the Pauline bot in the prize corner and navigate around the restaurant until it detects and finds Pauline. Once this happens, Paulette will bring Pauline back to the show stage. If you try to move the bot as it's making its way to Pauline, she will change rooms, forcing you to look for her all over again, so you can't just spam every camera mindlessly. You can still be mindful and pretty quick, however, as long as you pay attention. Night 2 also introduces the oxygen mechanic, where your oxygen will begin to decrease if some of the animatronics attack or approach you. In the case of Pauline, taking too long to find her causes oxygen to slowly decrease. You have an inhaler that'll recover your oxygen quickly, but you only have 3 uses. Using the inhaler unnecessarily will make you dizzy, slowing your movement temporarily, and if you run out of oxygen, you pass out. The next post-shift task involves tuning Alice's bass guitar and equalizing her amplifiers, as Gerald goes on to help Diane. Marie's third story is of an outing between the 3 ladies of the family at a park in town. Martha was looking to buy clothes for the new baby, Charlie, as named by Marie, and received a coat and beanie from some friends. They then went to a nearby park where Marie and Sue made friends with a girl almost as old as Sue. She couldn't remember her name properly, but described her as having red hair. They had a wonderful time at the park, but had to leave before it turned dark. On the way home, they met Uncle Stu, a tall, well-dressed man with glasses who owned a restaurant with talking robots, the very same robots Marie saw in the commercials. Uncle Stu would then invite them to see the restaurant one day. Her dream of making friends with the animatronics would soon come true. So in the end, Reagan has ties to Marie's family, albeit a brief one. On your next shift, Abby takes center stage, a familiar face from the first game. As a quick refresher, this animatronic has quite the tainted past, as it was operated by Rachel, your grandmother, to lure 3 children to Flake's Funland, and then kill them. Abby isn't playing around like the twins, as she will take action against anyone that intrudes while the establishment's closed. Abby will make her way to your office, and if she enters, you must stay completely still. A skill check bar will appear where you must time it carefully and hold your breath. Timing it on the green section will make Abby leave more quickly compared to the yellow/orange sections. At this point, you're freaking out. You thought all that talk about the animatronics moving was some sort of joke. Looks like she might have inherited some of Ashley's anxiety. After tonight, a power outage results in the generator's fuses burning out, and someone has to go into the basement and fix it. Unfortunately for you, you have no choice but to take this cheapskate's $5 and go down there. Just remember,
Don't wander around, and don't touch anything you're not supposed to. Here, take $5. I'm out. Good night.
as if going down in the basement's not bad enough, there's a strong, rotting smell down here. Try your best to fix the generator without puking all over it and yourself. Good luck. Marie's next story is about her favorite place of all. She was about to visit the place of her dreams, Sunshine's, Uncle Stu's restaurant. Martha was wearing thick clothes to hide the pregnancy and were hoping to leave as Reginald wasn't home. However, he showed up unexpectedly, recovering from his wounds after a drunken fight. He angrily questioned where Martha and the kids were going, but she refused to answer, which didn't satisfy him. He continuously asked, refusing to let them go otherwise, getting angrier and angrier. They both started fighting as Reginald unzipped Martha's coat and learned of her pregnancy. The yelling wouldn't stop. Martha then told Reginald where they were going and finally let out her anger towards him as Sue tries to comfort a distraught Marie. Unfortunately, the fight didn't stop this time. And then I heard Mommy scream in pain, but it was different this time. She didn't just cry, she kept screaming, and Sue went after Dad to stop him. When she did, I couldn't hear Mommy anymore, and then Sue stopped screaming too. I was too scared to see. I was hiding under the table, crying. I could only hear Dad's footsteps getting closer. I opened my eye. I saw Mommy and Sue lying on the kitchen's floor, and Daddy was in front of me. I closed my eyes again, and then he grabbed me, and I felt nothing but a cold feeling in my stomach. Cold steel. I can't remember what happened after that. I can only remember Mommy, Sue, and I woke up in a cold, dark place. We were terrified. We were alone. I cried, Sue cried, and so did Mommy. But she tried to comfort us. She told us she wouldn't let us down. She made a promise to us. I don't know how we did it, but we found a way out. I remember we were standing in the middle of a forest. We wandered and wandered around. I wanted to go back, but Mommy said we couldn't. She took us to Uncle Stu's restaurant, Sunshine's. She kept her promise after all. Once we went inside, we realized we had no reason to go outside ever again. And ever since, we've made this our new home. We are a very happy family. Charlie even found a body to inhabit. We like playing with the children and performing for our fans. We have lots of them. However, sometimes there's people who come inside at night when the show's over. Mommy doesn't want them to be here, so we try our best to keep them away. We scare them, because this is our home. Why are you still here? Sadly, Marie and her family were all killed by Reginald, and they found themselves here, at Sunshine's, a place where they could get their second chance at happiness, as the animatronics. Martha would be Abby, Sue would be Alice, and Marie would be Paulette, watching over her baby brother Charlie as Pauline. They were happy to play with the children, performing for everyone, but at night, things are different. Martha doesn't want her happy family to be disturbed any longer, so she and her family do their best to scare off anybody that shows up during the night. And so now our next night leads to one more animatronic, Alice, a returnee from Lake's Funland. With a stage of their own, they'll stay there throughout the night playing some tunes. However, her amplifiers will change frequency levels over time, and you must adjust the frequency accordingly in order to keep her on stage. If you let the frequencies go out of control for too long, she'll eventually start moving, and it'll be over for you. Your final post-shift task involves testing an arcade machine game by Sunken Studios, not only a reference to one of the game's coders, but the same developers of the arcade machines in Together Again. As you reach the end of the arcade machine game, it'll eventually end up crashing and glitching. If you reach the end, you get a cutscene from May 7th, 1995, 7 months after the events of the first game, revealing that Oscar Magwood was killed while standing trial by a man named Hank. Hank yelled that he got what he deserved for taking him away. We know in the first game, Oscar was the one who manipulated Rachel into killing 4 children, but nobody knew except for Oscar, Rachel, and the entity. As for Hank, I believe he's the father or at least related to either Martin Donovan Calcott or Joshua Felwick, the children that possessed Alex the Coyote and John Coon the Rabbit at Lake's Funland. As we return on the next night, Marie has one final story to offer us. A story which might convince us to stop showing up here. Despite their happiness here at Sunshine's, Marie couldn't stop thinking of her father. She hoped and dreamed that one day, their family could be reunited, with him turning a new leaf. Once again, she dreamed of a second chance at being a family. One night, someone tried to break in the restaurant. A man, laughing, yelling, cursing throughout the restaurant. They sounded familiar. Sounds of furniture breaking echoed through the halls, destroying their precious home. That's when he showed up, Reginald. He looked mad, and held an axe as he approached them. He lifted his axe, and was about to strike her mother once more. In the end, Marie realized that Reginald had no intention of taking this second chance. He had no intention of changing, even after the loss of his family. This time, however, Martha didn't let him hurt her. He would break Mommy into pieces one more time. But Mommy didn't let him. Not this time. She grabbed his arm and slowly crushed it. She held him by the throat and suffocated him, slowly. She threw him away and landed on the chairs. Mommy didn't have enough either. She grabbed him and his axe and took him out to the hallway. She smacked his head against the wall many times until she broke his nose. He didn't have enough either. He tried to fight Mommy, like in the old days, but Mommy was stronger now. He was punching her, trying to break free. I knew that if he somehow managed to set himself free from Mommy's arms, he'd hurt her again. So Charlie and I stopped him. We grabbed both of his arms. Only then we realized Sue had watched everything as well. So she took his axe and cut off his arm. I had never seen Daddy in that much pain before. He slowly crawled into the storage room. He was desperate. I couldn't believe my eyes. Daddy was crying. For the first time, he was showing fear and pain. Mommy took the final blow. She did the unthinkable and stabbed Daddy's stomach against the basement's door. He fell down the stairs and hit that dusty, dirty floor. We assumed, perhaps, Daddy just wanted to be a part of the family again. Maybe he did miss us. Maybe he was just trying to make some space for himself, turning our home into a dumpster. That's the way he liked it. So we thought he'd love having a suit for himself, and we got just the right one for him. He found it right in front of his eyes the moment he hit the ground. After all, he changed. After all, everything Daddy needed was to smile a bit, and now he will never stop smiling. Would you like to meet him too?
Everyone here thinks alike. He's a stupid moron and he... What the hell is that thing? What the fuck?
Reagan, what's happening?
What the hell is that thing? No.
There is no way to distract this one, but now you have a weapon. A taser granted to you, which normally was supposed to be given next week, but things have changed with workers reporting noises in the basement, so it's better to be safe than sorry, especially with the energy in the air tonight being much more ominous now. Should he appear in the office and attack you, you'll have to press buttons in a series of QuickTime events in order to fend him off. As of version 1.3, you'll only need to use WASD for the QTEs, with the exception of Custom Night. Custom Night will have more keys depending on the difficulty of the character. Before this update, the QTEs consisted of 9 different keys throughout the entire game. Not only just WASD, but R, Q, E, Z, and X. Failing to hit a key twice means death. After all, this one's not kind like the others. In addition, hitting the wrong key will cause your oxygen to decrease in chunks, so be careful to not run out. In addition to that, Pauline will now hide 2 times after leaving their stage, so you have to spend more time searching for them. Reaching 6 AM this time around is ironic in a sense, now that the family is together again. But now, you're free. On the way home, you have a dream of playing whack-a-mole, or rather whack-a-cat. Afterwards, we get a cutscene of Martha's family in an idyllic place.
You never looked this happy before, my dear.
Hello?
Hello, Martha. How are you feeling?
Excuse me, who are you? I'm sorry. I didn't know there was someone else in here. We've been by ourselves for quite some time now. I didn't imagine I'd meet someone new.
I must say, it's impressive what you and your children have done to this place. So much peace. I feel, despite everything you went through, this is nice.
You know that?
Yes, my child. I am sorry that things turned into that way for you and your innocent kids. It's okay, Martha. You are a strong soul, and it makes me proud that you did not let years of violence and struggle corrupt your spirit. That's why I came here. I don't have a name. I am just a cherub, a smiling cherub, they say. But you can call me any way you wish.
Huh. I see. What can we do for you? What is it that you came to do?
I came to give. You see, when a life ends abruptly, or ends in tragic conditions like yours and your children's, the spirit can't find its way back into the astral realm where it belongs. It stays. It picks a new source of life to prolong its existence in the earthly realm.
Wait, do you mean that this isn't where we are supposed to be?
It isn't. You and your kids chose a new life, and you've been trapped in a void. But what has impressed me is that somehow that love you share turned this emptiness into this beautiful place.
That's nice.
It might be, but this isn't the way it should be at all. I came here to show you the way back home, the path you must follow to reach eternity. The rest you deserve. You don't have to be alone in here. I can take you where you belong, if you just take my hand and come along with me. What do you say?
I don't mean to offend you, and I am very grateful for the offer you came to do. It means everything to me, to us. But the answer is no. We are okay where we are at this time, and we wouldn't change that for anything.
I see, and I want you to know I respect your decision, but would like to know why, if I may know.
We love what we do. We love the new place we live in. It's just so full of love and joy and harmony. Do you understand? Like waking up every day waiting for customers. New ones, familiar ones, babies, children, parents. The joy we bring to all those loving families that choose to come with us to have one beautiful moment together. That is priceless to me. To them, the smiles on their faces, the glow in their eyes, the heartbeats of all those children, the friends, the lovers. That's what heaven is for us.
I understand, and it's okay. I am very happy to see a woman, a family, grateful to have another chance. Keep smiling, my dear. Keep smiling. And whenever you feel ready to go, I promise you, I'll be here.
Thanks for understanding. Thank you.
Despite what they faced, they found a new source of happiness and sunshines in the animatronics they now possess. It's a rather interesting perspective that I don't think I've seen in any fan game, except for one. The closest thing that I can relate to this idea is maybe Five Nights at Freddy's rewritten 87 by Dottie, with the puppet trying to give the children a second chance at life through the animatronics. The difference there, though, is that the children in that game did not want their second chance forever, and just wanted to rest. In this fandom, it's considered a norm at this point that haunted animatronics are usually due to a tragic event related to said animatronics, and that the spirits are vengeful. But in this game, while they may have suffered violent deaths, they found comfort in their possession of the animatronics, because of the joy that they can spread. I will admit, upon seeing this cutscene for the first time while beta testing, I was skeptical of this smiling cherub. Part of this is because of what other celestial beings have done, like the entity in the first game. When I heard the cherub talking about the idea that this wasn't the place they were meant to be, it rubbed me the wrong way. But looking back at it, it does make sense. This wouldn't be considered part of the natural order, having spirits remain in the physical world. They're supposed to move on. So in the end, I'm going to take this cutscene as intended, or at least as I believe it's meant to be intended, which is an angelic figure offering this family the rest they deserved, even if it was ultimately rejected. This is also greatly supported by the fact that this is not the first time the cherub has appeared in the duology. They actually appeared during the minigames that allow you to obtain the true ending of Together Again. In Together Again, there are 3 minigames you must interact with in order to obtain the true ending. Interacting with the glitches in these minigames grant access to some 8-bit minigames, where Ashley, or a figure resembling Ashley in all white, looks for the children and sets them free, while a shadowy figure resembling Abby watches on. While the sprite resembles Ashley, this is the smiling cherub, setting the children free as you acknowledge the truth behind their deaths. This is supported by the character bio of the smiling cherub. Quote, "Smiling cherub is an angel whose purpose is to guide the lost souls back to the light. As seen in the first Together Again, she's also a shapeshifter and tends to use this in favor of gaining a soul's trust easily. So with that said, it makes sense why they would take the appearance of Ashley, the girl trying to solve the mystery of their disappearance, someone who cares for these children who were never found. After all, one of the victims, Lorraine, confided in Ashley that it was her own mother who was responsible for their deaths. This shapeshifting ability is rather handy when considering the fact that the cherub cannot forcefully make a soul find peace, as we see with Martha. Even though Martha and her family are not in their quote rightful resting place, the cherub cannot take them against their wishes. Now, while we left Martha and her family in a happy state, our cheapskate manager finds a way to ruin it right after.
You gave it your best. You were a valuable element to our crew. We're sorry to hear your experience wasn't pleasant working for us, and that you've dealt with certain inconveniences. We understand you're ready to go in search of new opportunities and adventures. However, we would also like to remind you that you're obligated to finish your work week, as stated in your contract. If you fail to show up tomorrow, we are within our rights to take legal action against you. But after you have finished your last shift, you're free to fly high. We are, as well, willing to negotiate a compensation. You must understand that anything you say out loud in public regarding your situation could compromise the restaurant's reputation, and that is a risk we are not willing to take. So please, get in contact with management after your shift is over so we can arrange it. Thank you, Reagan, and goodbye.
On night 6, the animatronics are more aggressive, especially Mr. Smiles. Once you reach 6 AM, you are officially free, and we get to see our dear Reginald once more.
Hello? Is anybody out there? Somebody? Please! I can't see anything! I don't know where I am! Please! Someone! Answer me! Please! Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream. Make him the scummiest that I've ever seen. Give him 2 eyes like slits in a snake. And tell him that his soul is up for take. Hi. Who are you? What's going on? I've been crying for help for hours. Where have you been? Who the hell are you? Welcome, Reginald. I knew you would come, sooner or later. And you didn't disappoint. What are you talking about? Where am I? Who are you? You are right where you belong, my friend. Who am I? That I will answer later. First things first. You are here for a reason. What do you want from me? You are Reginald Levin Franklin, son of Isaac and Adele. You were raised by noble parents who provided you with all basic human needs. A home, education, food, and love. So now I wish to know why exactly you didn't preach the same love to your own family when you were given the opportunity, and instead you kept them living disgraceful lives, always longing for some bread to fill their stomachs, tormenting them day after day until you took their lives. Make yourself clear to me now that you are given the chance. Wait. What? How the hell do you know all of that? Even so, how does it concern you? Huh? Why the hell does it matter to you? I don't owe you any answers. Do you understand? I owe no answers to anyone! Oh, poor Reginald. I believe you don't yet understand. You are in no position to argue. I know what you did. And there is no excuse you can give me to make me reconsider my views over you. But you can try to give me a good reason why I should be merciful with you. Merciful? What is all this? Someone help me! Please! Just someone get me out of here! Someone! Please help me! You can shout as loud as you wish. No one can hear you, Reginald. It's just you and me. What do you want from me? I told you. Just talk to me. And pray that it gets you somewhere. Okay. Okay. Fine. Let's talk. Do you believe in karma, Reginald? No, I don't. Oh, don't you? Why is that? Kingsley. Stuart Kingsley. I see. Hard feelings. You two were inseparable. That was my mistake. The one thing I regret, trusting him. He got to where he is right now, thanks to me. Everything he's got is all thanks to me. He stole my work, my ideas, my plans. He got me fired. He ruined everything for me. And yet look at him. He's rich, famous, everybody loves him. Everybody treats him like he's a genius. When he's nothing but a fraud. If that's supposed to be karma, then no. I don't believe in any of that bullshit. Is that so? It's all about Kingsley. Yes. He ruined my life. He ruined my family. I lost my job. I lost my money, my home, my reputation, everything! It's all because of him! I could never give my family the life they deserved. All because of him. If he wasn't such an opportunistic dirtbag, maybe none of this would have ever happened in the first place. That's on him, not me. Oh, Reggie. I think I have no choice but to lecture you about karma and decisions tonight. Do you recognize this man? Magwood? Yes, that's Oscar Magwood. I used to work for him. Me and Kingsley. Well, consider yourself lucky. I have a feeling you'll enjoy hearing today's exclusive. There he was, 42 years ago. Montreal's most acclaimed robotics genius. About to lose his job. It was guaranteed that he would get fired. No matter the efforts, no matter the time he had spent working for that company, they would throw him off the ship. And yet, you had a job at the most worshipped restaurant franchise in all of Quebec, operated by none other than him. What could have possibly saved him from losing his job, his everything? What could have possibly made him become the millionaire leader who employed you? I called his name that one day. I wanted to see what he was willing to do to save his skin. And he didn't disappoint. He condemned his son's family with hardly any hesitation or remorse. But even then, I was hopeful I wouldn't hear of him again. But it wasn't enough for him. He continued to take the wrong choices, make the wrong moves, asked for the wrong favors out of nothing but pure greed. He came to me a second time, then another, and I kept pushing him to see just how far he would get. But the moment he went too far and pushed an innocent woman to do his dirty job for him, I knew I had seen enough. I knew it had gotten personal, and I knew I had to bury him myself. And despite having a fate as humane as a bullet to the head, I did not go easy on him. Not one bit. Wait, that was you. You caused his death. He brought it all upon himself. His choices. Just like you did, Reginald. Suddenly you experienced betrayal from a close associate, and your future and your families run a risk. But instead of pushing yourself forward to provide for them like a man, you chose to condemn them to poverty, gambling, drinking, taking the wrong choices. You chose alcohol and hatred over your own family, You chose to victimize yourself instead of admitting that you were wrong. You chose violence, chose to make their lives a hell until you murdered them, just because you couldn't stand to watch your precious ego get crushed.
No, please, look, please, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry about that, okay? I've regretted it every day of my life ever since. You need to let me go, please.
And even now, after you've died, you continue to choose to be a miserable coward. You disgusting sack of filth. Even after you tormented them and ended their lives unfairly, your family is grateful for finding new life and bringing joy to others. The joy they were forbidden to live because of you. And now, here you are, begging me for mercy.
Please. I'm sorry.
I'm done giving second chances. But you need to smile Reginald. And I believe everyone deserves at least one chance to do so. Do you believe in karma now, Reginald? Yes, you do.
Quite a lot, huh? This cutscene changed my whole perspective on the entity, which I didn't see coming at all when I started playing this game. Karma. Do you believe in it? Because the entity sure does, and it all goes back to Reginald's old boss, Oscar Magwood. A man on the brink of being ousted from his own company, regardless of his esteemed reputation. That's when he was presented with a choice, a second chance to turn things around, at a cost. He may have not known at the time, but he ended up sacrificing his son's entire family and found success. He would lose both Vanessa and Margaret Magwood, his granddaughter and daughter-in-law. Vanessa died in a car accident, and presumably Margaret died due to illness. No matter the cost, he kept coming back for more, until it was a cost he had to pay with his own hands. A cost he had Rachel pay instead. The lives of 5 children. This enraged the entity, and decided to punish Oscar, in part by having Harlan be the 5th child to die. Perhaps he punished Magwood by orchestrating his death. Seeing the entity enraged by this initially confused me, especially considering the entity's past within the first game. What made this scenario so different? While part of his rage seems to be because of the pain of the innocent, in this case Rachel, I think his main source of rage was over Oscar attempting to relegate the cost of his actions, the consequences, to someone else, a person unrelated to this endeavor. He may have sacrificed his family beforehand, but he was always going to have to live with that decision. He didn't directly cause their deaths with his own hands. This time, however, he had to get his hands dirty, and instead of doing it himself, he threatened Rachel's own family. He took all of the rewards while suffering none of the consequences, pushing the entity to the brink. And so we go back to Reginald, who ended up being a reminder of the filth that Oscar Magwood was. Another man who made the wrong choices in the face of adversity, over and over again. A man who made his innocent family suffer, and this time it's not even for his own benefit. Some could argue he's worse than Oscar, or vice versa, but I'll just go with the idea that they're both worthless. And so this time, he was done giving second chances, especially to the likes of Reginald. He did, however, give him a chance to smile with his family, once and for all. And thus we have a conclusive ending to the Magic Hour, at least for Reagan's part in the story. I thought the first game's story was tragic enough as it is, especially with our perspective learning that our mother took the lives of 4 children, and yet this game upped the ante in a way by having a child depict the story of their family's death, and subsequent vengeance on their killer, their own father. Not only that, this game gives quite the depth to not only new but returning characters, like Reginald, the Entity, even the Smiling Cherub as we mentioned. So now let's go on and talk about some of the characters in this duology in more depth, and how it connects to the events in the Magic Hour. First off, if you beat 520 mode, you get a cutscene taking place the day after Magwood's death, where we finally see what's happened with Rachel.
I don't even know what to say. He's dead. Gone. I really don't even know what to think. I know I said many times that I wanted him dead, but now I'm not really sure I meant it. It doesn't matter that he was a piece of filth. I just don't think this was the right thing. Maybe at this point I just wish he was rotting in jail. I wished every day for him to face consequences for everything he did, but I didn't want it to end this way. So now no one knows about me, and Ashley. Ashley is safe. Oh, I don't deserve that child, and she doesn't deserve me. I took those children away from their parents. Why would I rest careless with my own? I don't deserve her. I failed her. Nothing will change now. The deed is done and he's gone. I hope and I beg God you're burning in hell right now, Magwood. If you didn't pay up for your bullshit alive, I hope that's because...
We now know what's become of Oscar Magwood, tormented by the Entity, even in death. As for Rachel, she actually leaves this cabin in Alaska and heads for Illinois, the place of her birth. She makes a new life for herself as Helen Zawarski, who ends up as the manager of Dizzy Donuts, a little donut shop in Illinois, the same donut shop that Reagan interviewed at. Talk about fate. According to the duology's official wiki, this leads to the official reunion between Rachel and Ashley, since Reagan realizes that her manager was her long-lost grandmother. This is actually hinted at in the game through the Lil Granny collectible, who sports the same attire as Rachel in the first game, attached with a voicemail of Miss Zawarski accepting Reagan for the position. When Reagan interacts with the figurine, she can't help but feel as though the figurine resembles someone familiar. And now we know why. All in all, Reagan and her family get a hopefully happy ending after everything that's plagued this family throughout 3 generations. It's hard to tell how Ashley and Rachel's reunion went, given the circumstances, but I'd like to think it ended on a positive note. Next we have Tyler, the corpse slave, cheapskate manager at Sunshines, who is actually related to either Martin Donovan Colcott or Joshua Felwick, and ended up moving here after the events of Lakes Funland, with his family falling apart and his life in disarray. He would find a job at Sunshines and be employed there for 7 years by the time the magic hour rolls around. For all we know, he might even be the son of the man that kills Oscar. As for the entity, there's a lot to unpack about them. First, the entity's official names are Red Hellsinger / the Handshaker. The name Handshaker is used to refer to their appearance in the first game, while Red Hellsinger refers to their human form in this one. They're a demonic entity whose sole purpose was to offer deals to those with malintent, or those that needed a quick solution in desperation, like Oscar Magwood. The caveat is that every single person who's made a deal with him ended up with a tragic fate, except for one individual who managed to survive, remaining unknown. Some theories I had were either Stuart Kingsley, or maybe even Rachel after killing the children, but there's nothing that would allude to those being the mysterious survivor, or anyone else for that matter. However, this would change after what happened with Oscar Magwood's actions in 1990, having Rachel murder the 4 children. A superior entity by the name of Franz Ducard, according to the video Times Change by the developer Mephisto, ordered them to abandon their sole purpose as the Handshaker and act as executioner and tormentor of all of Oscar's associates. The video covers the discussion between Franz and Red Hellsinger in depth, which I recommend you go through on your own time to get a better idea as to what happened. As for Cliff Notes, the source of Franz's anger is due to the fact that Rachel was made to suffer as a result of the Hellsinger's deal with Oscar. Quote, "He ruined her, the one I loved the most. He broke her because of what you promised to him. He killed my favorite child's spirit, and you, like it or not, were involved." As for Franz, not much is known about him, besides the fact that they are a more powerful entity than the Hellsinger, despite being in a somewhat weakened condition, and no longer able to rewrite the past itself, yet still able to change the consequences. Quote, "I can't do that anymore. In this condition, that would take a lot of my energy and damage my brain connections even more. We're past that. I need my remaining energy for something more important right now." Even the Hellsinger says that Ducard has, quote, "that wounded and dying head of yours." Speaking of rewriting fate, apparently the Hellsinger was also a victim of rewriting at one point. Not only that, but we know from the Hellsinger that Ducard was gone for about 12 years, so around 1982, though there's nothing to really explain why or what would have caused this, or what could even damage a powerful entity like Ducard in the first place. However, we have also seen this character in the duology before. In Together Again, he is the old man in the park where Ashley is interviewing guests about the missing children. In the Magic Hour, he's the man who appears at Oscar's trial when he gets killed. He's even depicted as one of those intruders during your introduction to Sunshines. The official wiki even mentions that not only was he the one that helped Rachel return to her birthplace and obtain a new life as Helen Zawarski, but potentially the one behind Ashley's appearance in Lakes Funland. Quote, "In a tape from Christmas 1993, she says she was gifted with a vision, where she was told how to release the children's souls, but that she couldn't do it alone and she feared not being listened by them. That's how in November 1994 she convinced Ashley to work at Lakes Funland at night. As said in the tape, she needed someone pure who they could connect with." So all in all, they've had a major role to play in the shadows of this duology, all because of Rachel, who is their favorite child. Unfortunately, this part is never explained. The only thing that even resembles something like this to me is the fact that Rachel grew up with a very religious upbringing, at least up to the point before her mother Helen died. Back to the Hellsinger, who started his role as executioner with an individual by the name of Roger Bellville, originally part of some videos by Hudson Harris, the voice actor of the Hellsinger, Corpse Slave, and even Reginald. These videos ended up being part of the canon to the duology, where Roger Bellville is the one who kills Vanessa Magwood, Harlan's sister, in a car accident. Roger had made a deal with Hellsinger to cover up his involvement in Vanessa's death, and the price for this deal was to go and work at Lake's Funland, and ensure that nobody would die on the premises, a price he failed to pay. On October 11th, 1990, Roger leaves Lake's Funland after a disturbing encounter with Alex the Coyote, and dies in a car crash after striking a tree. The punishment for allowing Rachel to kill those children in another deal by the Hellsinger. Links to the videos by Hudson mentioned here will also be in the description if you want to see them yourself. This then leads up to his encounter with Reginald in 2010, after his death, and we know how that ended. However, his job is not done, as Stuart Kingsley remains the last close associate that we know of. While it's unclear whether he made a deal with the Hellsinger in the past, one thing's for sure. He's bound to be visited by the Hellsinger one day, whether in life or in death. In the end, it's all about karma. However, the Hellsinger is not exempt from this concept. This whole ordeal about torturing Oscar's associates, watching over them, is part of the karma he's come to terms with as a result of his meddling with Oscar in the first place, tempting him to have 5 children killed for salvation. The difference here is that Hellsinger's accepted the consequences of his actions, albeit thanks to Franz Ducard. And finally, we have Reginald, the man of the hour, just not in the way one would hope. We know what happened to him already, but how did he get in such a precarious situation? Despite what one may think, he didn't have a bad upbringing. In fact, his life was on an upward trajectory. His downward spiral is documented throughout the 10 tapes that you can collect throughout the nights. If you want to hear all the tapes in their entirety, you can check out the last video I made covering all of the tapes and character bios, since the tapes in total take up close to over 30 minutes, if not more. However, I will still be referencing some of the tapes directly for dialogue here and there. Reginald's story throughout the tape starts on May 8th, 1995, the day after Oscar Magwood was killed while standing trial, presumably for the deaths of the children at Lake's Funland. He made a call to his best friend, Stuart Kingsley, a bit distraught by the news since Oscar Magwood was their old boss. Reginald, in fact, was the head engineer over at Lake's Funland, and was subsequently fired after the place went up in smoke, since the establishment would never open up again, and the company was subsequently dealing with the fallout. His next call was over a year later on October 11th, 1996, calling Kingsley to celebrate the news that not only was the company finally ahead of all the Lake's Funland drama, but they now needed a new project lead, which could be huge for them both. On top of that, Martha was pregnant, and Reginald is going to be a father.
So I took her to the doctor, and it turns out it's going to be 3 of us now. I know, man, this is insane. I'm a dad now. Oh boy, I have plans too. I have lots of plans. Oh, it's going to be amazing. I can't wait until... Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I just... I'm sorry. This is just so exciting for me, you know? Anyways, I thought I'd just keep you updated. Call me back soon, okay? Bye!
Now, in the second call, there was a line about Kingsley having gotten himself into a car accident, which I thought was rather strange, and considered the possibility of Hellsinger making a deal with him like he did with Magwood. But that shouldn't be possible, since this happened after Franz's order to keep an eye on all of the associates of Oscar and to no longer make deals. Reginald then calls Kingsley on March 28, 1997, to share the news that he was selected to be Magwood's replacement, and even are willing to hear his ideas on a new restaurant. A week later, he calls Kingsley again, who's at the doctor, and lays out his plans for the new restaurant, and even discusses potential locations, such as Wisconsin. The plan he reveals would turn out to be the restaurant known as Sunshines, with all 4 human animatronics, out with the animals, in with the humans. In fact, Martha was the one who came up with Pauline and Paulette as the names for the twins. As elated as he was, he then moved on to address some of the ideas Kingsley presented him, ideas that he rejected. One of these ideas was a gray smiling cat by the name of Mr. Smiles. How ironic, the very suit he would be trapped in is the suit designed by his best friend turned enemy. Safe to say, he turned down Kingsley's ideas and insulted him, to be honest. Just take a listen.
Well, a gray smiling cat? I don't know, man. I don't think that's really going to work with my vision, you know? It's a bit conflicting. I mean, first of all, animals, humans, I already talked about that whole thing, but also, his name is Mr. Smiles. It's a little bit obnoxious, don't you think? I mean, come on, you could be at least a little bit creative when it comes to naming things. I mean, hey, look, not every idea is going to be a great one, so why don't you just leave the big thinking to me, pal, okay? Hey, I mean, I guess that's why they chose me to run this project, huh? But anyways, if you could give me any feedback on any of this stuff, I'd appreciate your help, man, but then again, I'm not sure if, you're the right person I should be asking feedback for. I mean, let's face it, some of your ideas could need a little bit of work.
Things then take a turn for the worst for Reginald on September 4th, 1997, where he says that he was ousted from the company due to his involvement with narcotics. He denies this claim, but the company have no desire to deal with him. After all, they have no desire for another fiasco after just getting over what happened with Magwood. All he needed right now, though, was someone to believe him, like his best friend Kingsley. On January 10th, 1998, he calls Kingsley once again, prompted by his visit to Wisconsin, and his transformation into the abusive drunken father has just started.
You were my friend. You're supposed to back me up, not sabotage me, you piece of shit. After all the times I saved your filthy ass. I have a daughter. I have a wife. I have a fucking family to feed. And you know that. And you have the fucking nerve to betray me. Just so you can be the man of the hour. Do you know what you've done?
Ever since he was ousted, he's been unable to find a job ever since. He confronts Kingsley as the one who set him up, since the photos that were used to condemn Reginald in the first place took place at a bar only the two of them went to. Photos that were set up by Kingsley, hiring someone to appear as Reginald. As a result, he and his family had to break into an abandoned home on a hill, which helps explain the state of Martha and Reginald's portrait, a stark contrast to when they first got married. Ironically enough, though, Reginald was the one who truly ruins his family for the next decade. Years later, he would call once again in his drunken stupor on May 14th, 2002, the man we truly love to hate.
My old friend. My old best friend, right? I bet you weren't expecting my call. You're not gonna believe this last week, that wretchful woman I have for a wife gave birth to another meat sack I'll have to feed. How's that, huh? The other one won't do anything but cry. Oh, Daddy, I'm hungry. Oh, Daddy, give us food. Daddy, when can I shower?
And again on November 24th, 2006.
All I want to do is talk with my best friend in the whole world. I heard you got new models for your restaurant. Let me tell you, those things are the ugliest fucking things I've ever seen. I've never seen designs as mediocre as those. I mean, you gave them fucking tits, Stuart. What's wrong? Couldn't get any bitches now that you're a big fucking hotshot? You just had to build yourself your own robot harem just to get yourself off?
He even called him after annihilating his entire family.
Hello, Kingsley. It's me. Old Man Reggie. probably the best day in my life after 12 years. I went down to the tavern, beat some idiot's ass, and got his phone. The reception up here is terrible, but hey, I got a free phone after all. Yeah, I gained a phone and lost 3 nuisances. Finally, I can hear my own thoughts again.
And one final call went out before he would go to break into Sunshine's on his birthday.
Hello, Stu. I hope you didn't forget whose birthday it is today. I found some goodies within my home's garbage today. Old memories. Don't you miss when we used to hang out and cause some good old destruction? Huh? Sabotaging our competition our fun way? Well, I do. And tonight I'm going to gift myself with some of that precious destruction. I'm parked right outside a place that might be very familiar to you. Sunshine's. Oh, buddy. This might be my birthday, but I believe this will be a nice surprise for you. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Reggie. Come on, Stu, sing along. Sing along, you piece of shit. Happy birthday to me.
After that, we know that he ends up being killed by his family, only to be terrorized by Hellsinger, and ends up possessing the dead body that's now part of the Mr. Smile suit that was designed by his old enemy. A fitting fate for this one. And that concludes the end of the Magic Hour, along with the duology that started it all with Together Again, a Lakes Funland story. 13 deaths throughout both games. Vanessa and Margaret Magwood, Oscar's granddaughter and daughter-in-law, succumbing to a car accident and, presumably, sickness. Martin Colcott, Josh Felwick, and Wendy Gribble. Children lured and killed by Rachel. Roger Bellville in a car accident after breaking the Hellsinger's deal. Lorraine Wilson, killed by Rachel after watching her favorite animatronic perform. Harlan Magwood, the 5th child who takes his own life. Oscar Magwood, killed in vengeance and tormented for eternity. Martha and her unborn child Charlie, Sue, and Marie Levin, killed by Reginald in a drunken rage. And finally, Reginald Levin, killed in vengeance by his own family, and finally together again. Despite these deaths, the stories of those involved ended happily, at least for most. Reagan's family is now reunited. Martha and her children live on in happiness, entertaining at Sunshine's until they choose to accept the Cherub's offer and move on from this world. The Hellsinger now watches over Kingsley, waiting for his eventual fate of torment and death. Franz Ducard likely watches over his favorite child as she's reunited with the family she left behind for their own sakes. Reginald and Oscar Magwood, however, are left to torment in perpetuity. The quote, "How people treat you is their karma, how you react is yours" by Wayne Dyer was one I found quite randomly. I was trying to find something fitting to start the video, and when I saw this quote, I thought this matches Reginald perfectly, and to some extent Martha as well, so I had to use it. Reginald said he doesn't believe in karma because Kingsley never faced karma. Despite Kingsley's betrayal, nothing bad happened to him. He succeeded while Reginald's family suffered. He blamed Kingsley for what happened to his family, but in essence, Reginald's response to his betrayal, turning to drinking and gambling, becoming an abusive father, that's what ruined his family. In the end, that's what ruined himself. That was his karma. Martha, on the other hand, she focused on what mattered, taking care of her children, giving them positive memories in a time of hardship and ordeal, despite what their father did. She followed through with this until their deaths, and she got a second chance at life, reunited with her children, in the form of Sunshine's animatronics, a second chance at the happiness that should have been possible in life as a family. While this is a game, its themes surrounding the consequences of your actions, treating those around you as you want to be treated, is constant throughout our lives, which is probably why this story hit me harder than I expected when I first played it a month ago. And so, the clock on the magic hour rings, and the duology of Together Again finally concludes. Thank you, first of all, to Mephisto for giving me the opportunity to beta test this game. It has been an honor, something I never expected to even have the opportunity of doing. And, you know, when I first saw you reach out months ago, I was at a loss for words. With that comes thank you to my viewers who are the only reason why this kind of opportunity was even possible. Thank you and great job to all the developers of not just the Magic Hour but Together Again. This duology is very special to me, not just because of what it did as a game series, but also because it gave me the confidence to make videos like these a more common occurrence rather than a one-off. It's hard to say goodbye to this one, but I think, honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better ending. And with that said, I hope you did enjoy. If you want to see other story breakdowns like this, there'll be a playlist in the description and on screen here. And with that said, I'll see you in another video. Take care.